What's going on, guys? Welcome to iSheep, the show that unapologetically gives you the week's Apple news from one geek, that's me, to another, that is you. Last week, we didn't have any news. This week, we do. So without further ado, let's do. So Trader Joe's is now accepting Apple Pay. In its more than 400 retail locations. That's it. For many months, we've been hearing about the upcoming Steve Jobs biopic titled Steve Jobs, directed by Danny Boyle, but the movie itself has hit quite a few snags along the way. Originally, they wanted to cast Christian Bale as Steve Jobs, which I really wish would have worked out because Christian Bale looks much like a younger Steve Jobs. Plus, he's Christian Bale. I freaking love Christian Bale. He was Batman. But then Bale dropped out. He wasn't going to do the movie, which was really sad. But then there were rumors that Leonardo DiCaprio was going to star as Steve Jobs, which thank God that didn't happen. But then finally, we had Michael Fassbender jump on as Steve Jobs. He was accompanied by Seth Rogen as Steve Wozniak. And now we have our first official look at the movie. They have the first official teaser out. I'll put a link down in the description. For what it is, it's teaser to a Steve Jobs movie. It looks alright. It looks like a teaser to a Steve Jobs movie. Just watch it for yourself. Link down in the description. Again, click it now. Go ahead. According to a new internal document, Apple is apparently updating their obsolete and vintage list, adding some Macs, iPhones, as well as some other devices, and quite a few of you might end up being affected. Basically, what this means, if your device is in the obsolete or vintage list, it means that the device itself is no longer supported by Apple. No repairs, no servicing of any kind, but there is a difference between obsolete and vintage, and that is why they separate the two terms. Obsolete means that the device has been discontinued for 7 or more years, but vintage means that the device has been discontinued for 5 or more years, but less than 7. I know it's really weird and confusing, but basically the only reason that the term vintage even exists is for California, because Apple devices in California have to be supported if they're 5 or more years, but less than 7, so they get the term vintage. It's really weird, I know, but there's a list down in the description. Check if your device is in it, because if so, it's very possible that you can no longer get support for it. Again, list is down in the description. Since Apple introduced the brand new MacBook, there's a lot of questions surrounding the future of the MacBook line. Well, Chris actually talked about this in an episode of TLDR. We'll put a link down in the description if you're interested in hearing his thoughts.
My app of the week is Quetzalcoatl, which is currently free in the iTunes App Store. I've already blasted through World 1 and World 2 and have begun World 3. Let me go ahead and start with World 1, Level 1, just to explain exactly what you need to do in this game. Drag the snake by its head or tail to make it match with the tile's color, like so. Ta-da! And then as you progress through the levels, they get more and more challenging. But I'm always one to face a challenge. And so it goes. So give it a shot if you want. It's a fun game to play. Really, really simple. Really, really free. And by the time it's no longer free, you can still earn it for free by using go.tagjag.com/free-apps or go.tagjag.com/free-points.
Oh, that's the show. If you'd like to do anything, make sure you hit that like button down below to show us your support. And speaking of support, it's because of you guys, the supernomies, the patrons over at ChrisPirillo.com, that this show even exists. It's why the majority of everything that we do on a daily basis even exists. And it's the reason I'm not living in a box. So please continue to show us your support over at ChrisPirillo.com. Are you a patron? If not, please, I don't want to live in a box. I don't like boxes. I'm claustrophobic. I don't want to be in a box.